I'm worth a lot of guap like some bathing apes. They say who gon' blackball me, you a crazy ape. And I will never sign a deal, call that a twist of fate. New slave nothing, my nigga, you must be bugging. When a bitch turn me down, I'll turn around and fuck a cousin if you diss. So I'm gonna give my take on the I'm gonna give my little 2 cents in for this interview that Joe Budden, Jay Prince Jr. did with Joe Budden. I'm gonna pause it every now and then so I can give my commentary. All right.
More intellectual than I am, and not even that. Let's just have an intellectual conversation. One thing I was given is the game, and you know that. But I know that's hard to talk. Yeah, it's hard to come by a bunch of people because they know I really come from that.
Okay. So, off the rip, Junior comes off as egotistic. Just being honest, not disrespectful. I'm just being honest. You know, you talk the way you do because you know who your father is, and everybody knows who your father is. That's why you talk the way you do. But anyway, let's continue.
Joe, you just want to move on to somebody else?
No, man, I'm just here listening.
Well, I like to talk about the prison system.
Ain't that much to listen to, my brother. It's just us having a conversation. And it's a light conversation because we ain't talking about shit.
Well, then, you want to start a conversation? Why don't you ask Joe something? Y'all can ping pong off each other.
No, I was asking him. He the interviewee. I ain't never did no podcast and got to talking about niggas. He did that, though. I was challenging him. I was challenging him to do that to me.
Okay.
Jay, you low key.
I'm gonna pause it right there. He said, I was challenging him to do that to me. What he means is the bullying, or the quote-unquote bullying that Joe Budden does to the young rappers, or has done to the young rappers in the past. Junior, Joe Budden has absolutely nothing against you. You want to know why? Nobody knows anything about you. No offense, but nobody knows shit about you. Nobody knows nothing. So for you to say, oh, you want Joe Budden to talk to you the way he talks to like somebody like the Migos or Lil Yachty, don't nobody know nothing about you, Junior. Nobody knows nothing about you. So what is he gonna say? Let's continue.
Have your own podcast, though.
That's cool. I know what I'm capable of. I'm talking
You've been
about
podcasting all night.
I know what he already did. I know what's transpired already. Therefore, I want to see if he can reciprocate that same energy to me. Because I know what he's done to others already. I want to see him reciprocate that same energy to me.
Junior answered all his boy questions.
And what if he can't give you that same shit?
Shit, tell him to say that, and we can keep on moving. He can move on and ask somebody else a question. I know how he like to, go with his wiggle on other niggas. Go with his wiggle on me.
There's no reason for him to do that, sir. And I want to say one other thing before I continue. Jay Prince Jr., you sound like you're inebriated, okay? Sounds like you're under the influence, and I don't think that is fair that you get to publicize an interview like this and you're inebriated. You're inebriated. That's what it sounds like to me. I know the difference. Joe sounds like he's sober. Joe sounds like Joe. Okay.
So this is the question game in here.
This is the what?
So y'all were playing the question game in here?
Nah, it's your question game in here.
I don't have any questions.
All this shit started based upon you.
Oh, I don't have any questions.
The question is, do you have a question to ask Junior?
No.
Because I see that you reciprocate negative energy to certain individuals. I wanted to see if you can reciprocate that energy to me, and we just can have an intellectual conversation. You talk to a bunch of dummies, and I don't want to.
Okay, Junior. You just said you talk to a bunch of dummies. Are you referring to Lil Yachty and the Migos? Because from what I'm getting, okay, from what I'm understanding, what you're trying to say is he's talking to a bunch of dummies, therefore they don't have the ability to intellectually combat Joe Budden, but you feel like you do have that intellectual ability. So you're referring to the Migos and Lil Yachty as dummies. I'm not gonna say anything else about it, but let's continue.
Discredit any niggas, but you talk to a bunch of niggas who don't know how to speak and can't articulate themselves in the right manner to deliver the right message. But can you do that with a man who can decipher himself in the proper manner? Can you have that conversation with a guy whom can exemplify himself in the way he need to be exemplified instead of the manner that you try to portray him?
And Jay, I can have any conversation with any man.
Then have a conversation with me.
I do not think that I run around spewing negativity the way that it sounds like you think.
And I agree. Once upon a time, Joe Budden used to talk a lot of shit about rappers, especially when he was on Complex. But as time went on, I actually saw for myself that Joe Budden is a changing man for the better. He's actually doing what he can to be more respectful to the younger rappers. And this is from what I've personally seen. So as far as what Joe's saying, I agree with him.
I don't think that at all, actually.
Okay, I understand. I understand your message then. But you know what you've done. You brought people in your room that you had a problem with and you had something bad to say about. And you spoken on what you had bad to say about them while they were in your presence. I don't know if you would have did that in real life. You might have. You might not have. I don't know.
Jay, when you say my room, you mean on Clubhouse?
No, I don't give a fuck about no Clubhouse. Clubhouse ain't got shit to do with nothing. We talking about real life. We talking about podcasts and all this other shit. We ain't talking about no Clubhouse. Clubhouse ain't shit. I just got on here.
Breakfast Club.
I just got on here 4 days ago. Like, this shit don't mean nothing to me. Now, I understand it's becoming a big platform. But this shit don't mean nothing to me. What I'm asking you is the same energy that you transpire the people that come on your podcast and different channels that you have leverage on. That you are, that on.
Jay, I don't interview people on my podcast.
Yeah, you don't interview them, but you got a bunch to say about them.
Well, yeah, that's a podcast.
You'll tell somebody when you don't like them. You'll tell. I don't watch enough of them, Joe. I don't watch enough of them. I done seen you disrespect a bunch of guys, rightfully so or unrightfully so. You did. I don't know if y'all had personal issues before they got on your shit. I have no idea. I just know what's transpired. I know what you did when they got there. I know what you did when they got there. So I don't know if it was for personal means or podcast means, whatever. You do what I'm saying? I don't know which one it was for. I just know it transpired. And you had to let it be known that it was this and it was that. When ain't nobody bring you that energy. Ain't nobody bring that energy to you initially. But you had to let it be known at that time that you brought the energy to them.
What time frame is this?
You said what time frame?
Yeah, because it sounds like you speaking about something specific, and I don't know.
Nah, I'm speaking on a bunch of different situations, and it's a bunch of people in here that can tell you that. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
You just talk a lot of shit.
I know a million of them.
Okay. This part right here. The female. You just talk a lot of shit. Hey, chick. Keep your mouth quiet. Keep your mouth shut. What I don't like is when females got something to say, but they ain't got nothing to say at the same time. I don't like it when a woman opens up her damn mouth when two grown men are having a conversation. But let's continue.
Like you say, we watch this shit all the time. Like old girl said, Migos.
Migos, the Yachty interview was pretty bad. You kind of with the whole what's it called? The 360 deal shit that you put on them. Yeah.
Nah,
Joe, I got a
speaking
question
on
for
other
you.
ones, it's a bunch of them. Y'all go
Y'all
ahead and
feel
speak on
like
some other
that
ones.
was bad?
It wasn't bad, but you definitely challenged him in a way where you could tell he wasn't ready for it. And yeah, Yachty's a little younger,
And this,
but it's
and
just
this,
like your maturity that he wasn't ready for. He wasn't ready for the questions that you asked. He wasn't ready for the
Joe,
pressure that you applied.
you be pressing niggas that ain't ready to be pressed. And
You
then
guys are in the
you let it
same
be known that you
experience.
got situations with guys that ain't even know they had a situation with you, but you just stand on it.
Nah, I don't think that's
Like,
my energy.
I'm
Yachty,
I'm I'm telling you what's transpiring. You might not think that's what you displaying, but we telling you what you displaying.
Well, I wouldn't say it's displayed like that, but it's definitely like from
That's
a
cool.
more like a
That's just your
wiser.
perspective. Let everybody else speak too, because there's a bunch of other people that can say some other shit.
Hey,
I just
Junior,
want to know
Junior,
what made you get what
Junior,
made you get
I
into
ain't gonna lie.
business. With
He ain't did nothing like on his podcast. I listened to him. He ain't did nothing but show respect to all the vibes. So I don't know.
I understand your perspective. I've been told you to exit the building.
Damn.
See?
that is my.
See that? All right. So exit the building. So now you trying to control people. See, this is the part that I didn't like about how Junior was coming across. He you don't control other grown men, bro. You don't control other grown men. You said I've been told you to leave the building. That ain't no boy. Junior, that ain't no boy. That's a grown man. That ain't no 12-year-old boy. That's a grown man. Okay? If it was your kid, you could say something like that. If it was your nephew, you could say something like that. That's another grown man. Okay? That's number one. But number two, of course, Joe Budden's people are going to speak up for him. That's a natural thing. Just like how that female, whoever the heck she is, maybe it's your wife, your girlfriend, your baby mama, I don't know who she is, But she keeps speaking up for you, but you ain't got nothing to say to her. You know. But let's continue.
Perspective too, though. And I think if we speak to Lil Yachty or any of the people that y'all think that type of interview went that way, like today, Yachty would say he appreciates that. He appreciated that back then.
Yeah, I think about all the people that you told I don't like you. I
All
don't like
publicity
y'all.
ain't good publicity.
I ain't fucking with your music. Like you know, you understand how many times you done said this shit on multiple occasions.
So why not send that
I don't.
nigga some?
Yeah,
He
but I
done,
don't. But I don't think that's. I don't think that's personal.
I mean,
So you wasn't picking that.
if you invite somebody to your platform and then disrespect them, it's personal.
So you wasn't
Complex
picking
wasn't
no
his
takeoff,
platform.
bro.
What the fuck?
So
I
you
mean
wasn't
that
picking their
because you know
takeoff in
who
their
coming
interview.
and you know you don't like them already. So regardless of if somebody else line that platform up, you know what's transpiring with that platform.
Yo, I'm only talking about this Yachty interview because that's the one that stands out in this type of
I mean,
conversation.
it's all good. Don't worry about it. I ain't worried about it.
And that was my
It's
very
all good.
first interview, by the way.
Hey Joe, publicity sells, man. We know that.
But guess what, Mom? You
What's
know
up,
I'm a
Mom?
nigga. You know I'm a nigga that ain't looking for no publicity because I don't get
Exactly.
paid for them.
Exactly.
So this shit don't
We
mean
just
nothing to
looking
me.
for a response.
You know it don't mean nothing to me. I just want somebody to tell me how they feel and be real about it and stand on it. I don't care about none of that publicity shit. This shit don't mean nothing to me. That's for everybody else, for the birds. So we let them stand on that or not stand on it. Joe, it's all good.
I know why I
Yeah.
used to pick on them kids at school about their shoes because everybody else did. They thought it was funny. Joe, that ain't why you pick at these artists sometimes.
Nah, man. I don't look at it as picking on artists. I don't. I look at
We
it as
fans of your
I
shit.
look at it as us outside of critiquing, just giving information and funneling information that wasn't readily available to me when I came in.
There's a
So,
lot of ways to do that.
real quick, I do disagree with Joe Budden on that part because when he was critiquing whoever he did critique, he was very harsh, and it did come off like he was trying to play people. Okay, so Joe is just trying to cover his tracks right now, but like I said, I don't agree with him with what he's saying right now because I know how harsh he actually was during these interviews. Let's continue.
Yeah, I understand that perspective, Joe. Like I understand it
It's not.
wholeheartedly.
It's never to disrespect niggas. It's certain shit I won't even touch on my platform. Like I run my shit very differently than how hip hop media is ran. Like it's not to play with niggas. It's not. And I don't have people on my platform, my podcast, that I wouldn't fuck with in real life or have a conversation with in real life.
My
I'm
nigga,
not in,
you done disrespected a bunch of niggas on your platform though. I done watched it.
but I'm saying that I don't think talking about a nigga's music negatively is disrespecting them personally.
You ain't had to bring me to your platform to do that.
I agree. Jay Prince Jr., aka Junior. I said Jay Prince Jr., aka. That's actually what I meant to say. But anyway, I agree with you. You're actually right. Right here.
So it is negatively when you try to put me on the forefront to do so. You could have called my phone and gave me constructive criticism rather than put me on the internet for everybody to see this. It's a difference. And you an older nigga, so you should know that. You should know that you could call the little homies and let them know, hey man, this ain't what's transpiring, rather than trying to put them on a platform where everybody can hear it for you to give your message. You could have gave him a message in 100 different other ways. I guess I'm talking to myself now, right?
Nah, yo, that kind of makes sense. What you saying though?
No, nigga, it do make sense. How you gonna say it kind of do?
Kind of makes sense, but at the
How
same
you gonna
token,
say it kind?
but
Man,
look,
hey,
but
man.
Junior,
Hey,
he media though. So he got to talk about things that drop. You feel me?
That's cool. He media. Be
But he know
media
where
the
he
right
come
way.
from, so he got to be held accountable.
Be media the right way. Why the fuck you feel like you need to speak on everything that I say for him?
I'm gonna tell you why, Junior. Number one, that's one of his co-hosts, somebody he trusts. That's number one. Number two, that female you got on your side, she's doing the same freaking thing. So everybody else is thinking, oh, it's cool that Joe Budden's people is trying to speak up for him. You're the only one that's offended, despite the fact that you got this pretty sounding female that can't keep her freaking mouth shut. Let's continue.
Not really. I'm just having a conversation.
That's cool. We can have a conversation. Just chill though. You ain't gotta respond to everything I say though, cause that's what you've been doing. Let him speak for himself.
Tell that to the girl that keeps speaking up when Joe is speaking and when you speaking. Tell her the same shit.
And I'll be quiet too.
Yeah, no, I never looked at it that way, to be honest with you.
What other way is it to look at it though, Joe?
Get ready. The Masked Dancer premiere continues on its regular night.
So put your phones down and pay close.
Like I just said, running the podcast and critiquing music without it being a personal shot at nobody that you're critiquing.
But you gotta understand that nigga, everybody got emotions and everybody got feelings, right? Because everybody man. So if you want to criticize me in public, why you can't criticize me in private?
Nah.
No,
I criticize my friends and the people I love and care about in private and in public. Like, that's a courtesy. Are you saying
I ain't never heard you criticize your wife in public.
He's right. Jay Prince Jr. is right. I do agree with him on this part.
That's somebody you care about. You criticize her in public, and that's no disrespect.
I'm not married? Are you talking about my son's mom?
I'm talking about your girlfriend and anybody else. I never heard you criticize them in public other than on TV where you got recognition for that too.
I have a long time ago when I was a little immature. I tend not to move that way at 40.
Exactly. So I'm saying, why are you moving like that with youngsters? Because we older. Why are you moving like that with youngsters?
My stance is I don't.
My stance is that you do. You won't criticize somebody that you can give constructive criticism behind closed doors where it might actually be a positive influence in their life. You rather give it to them in public and it be a negative influence in their life. And then you got to deal with what you got to deal with, and they got to deal with what they got to deal with. Now it's a problem. Now you created an animosity that it didn't need to be created because you could have said the same thing that you said in public behind closed doors, and it would have gave them more meaning. So therefore, if you want to give your audience meaning, if you want to really be beneficial to your audience, if you really want to give your audience direction, then you'll understand that if you give them that in a different platform and then have a different conversation with them on another platform that you'll get way further than what it is that you getting based upon trying to belittle somebody publicly.
But Jay, I speak to mad of these young niggas off platform, personally. Advice, kick it with them, like that happens.
I mean, that's the guys that we don't know about though. We talking about the ones that we do. So you might talk to a bunch of niggas the same way I could say I talk to a bunch of niggas, but don't nobody know the niggas I'm talking to. When we have an opportunity to talk to influencers, though, the guys that I actually have a chance of coming up, the guys that are in position or have been in position to come up, let's give them constructive criticism rather than belittling them and making them something less than they are. Let's give them the criticism they need behind closed doors. And then when we had these interviews, let's give them the criticism that they need.
I agree with that.
You do shit to be funny. You do shit to get views.
Jay, I'm the last.
He did shit to get views. Joe Budden used to do what you're talking about that you're claiming that he currently does.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Media person that does.
Man, that's cool, but you do shit for views, and I don't respect that.
Jay, I can assure you,
you do shit to get views. You speak on certain contexts and you speak on certain situations so people can laugh at certain people, and certain people can feel discredited about whatever it is that they doing based upon what you said. Well, you could have had that same conversation with this youngster behind closed doors and uplift.
Now, I want to say something real quick because I'm thinking back. I do remember that there was a recording, not a recording. It was a video somewhere on YouTube where Joe Budden was talking to DJ Academics like shit, like DJ Academics was a little nigga, and Joe went as far as to say "shut the fuck up" to one of the people that were trying to say something to stand up for DJ Academics. And while Joe Budden was talking to DJ Academics, Joe Budden was in his face, talking all loud, talking down to him. And Joe Budden had his hand on DJ Academics' shoulder as he was talking to him. You know, saying things like, look, you a little nigga, okay? I'm a little bit older than you, so I would know a lot more. See, that's how Joe is, or at least that's how he was. Once again, the interview that he did with Lil Baby, it showed me that he's trying to change. Joe Budden is trying to change as far as not being a harsh person anymore. You know what I'm saying? But I know exactly the type of instances Junior is talking about. I know exactly what he's talking about. And as a matter of fact, it's even offensive to me when Joe Budden does stupid shit, like when he be all up in people's faces saying, look, I'm older than you. Back in my day, we actually had lyrics, and you little niggas nowadays, y'all just a bunch of idiots that take a bunch of drugs. He say stuff like that to make people feel some kind of way, and then he'll turn around and say, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So I do agree with Junior to an extent.
Him, and then came back and got the same notoriety that you wanted from downplaying them that you could have got right here on your show.
Jay, I don't do shit for views, and I don't downplay niggas to get up.
Hey, Joe, I don't want to disrespect you, and I don't want you to disrespect me, because you ain't never disrespect none. You ain't never took it there with none of them young niggas, so I don't expect you to take it there with me. You did, but this is the thing, nigga. You done a lot to discredit people and say what you had to say about certain artists and shit like that.
When the pandemic hit, it was like a wake-up call for me. I was like, okay, here I am.
I think he's just a very honest person. He's just a blunt person.
Nigga, this shit don't matter. We all blatant, blunt, and honest. That's what we are. That's what we stand on. We all that. Tell him to tell you that he don't think I'm that. We both that. It's a time and a place for everything. I never take my blatancy and my honesty to try to uplift myself based upon another nigga's transgression. He capitalized off people bullshit. He'll say that he feel like this, and that about a nigga. But he ain't got to say that. He could have went and whispered in this young nigga ear because he an older nigga. You know what I'm saying? That has respect in the game. The same thing that he said. Well, not even the same thing. He could have whispered something else in this young guy ear on this podcast or anything else, and it would have had a lot more understanding in him creating.
You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if Junior is drinking that $4,000 cognac. That $4,000 Louis Vuitton cognac. I promise to God I'm going to get that as soon as I could afford it. Let's continue.
By saying some bullshit and what he said in this podcast. He could have put that nigga to the side and gave him some game. The same way we do. He could have put him to the side, whispered in his ear and be like, hey, nigga, you can do this. Instead of going on here, man, I don't like your music. Now tell a nigga how he can progress. Tell somebody how they can be better. Tell them if they do this, you feel like they can make more money for their family. Don't come in this motherfucker and telling somebody ain't create no drama. He just ain't created drama with the right people. That's all.
I got a question for Joe. Why did you retire rapping?
Didn't love it anymore.
That's all? There's nothing more to it? Joe, you gotta
Yeah.
get out of here with all these dry answers. Come on, give us something.
But he giving people advice on.
So he answered her question nice and sweet. She wanted him to elaborate on it, but Joe is not the elaborate. He's not the elaboration type. Joe is a conversationalist. Joe is a master conversationalist. Less is more. Not only that, but it's obvious Joe just wants to go to sleep. He wants to be done with this phone call, rightfully so. And when this female asks questions that has absolutely nothing to do with the topic at hand, that can be very frustrating. So that could be another reason why Joe just gave her a short, sweet answer. And Joe, you're doing a great job. You did a great job answering that female, whoever the hell she is.
Well,
Joe is a lyricist, though.
hey, Joe, can you freestyle?
In his own manner. And there ain't no discredit to the accomplishments that he made, because I know he a GOAT in his own manner. He a GOAT in his own manner. But don't discredit the other GOATs just because you don't believe in them. Just because you ain't feeling them. Pull them to the side and give them some advice if you feel like you need to give them some advice.
Jay, I agree with everything you're saying. I agree.
But why did you do differently? Answer that. You agree with me, but why did you do differently?
Well, Jay, when I tell you that I have relationships with these kids and speak to them off platform, you say nobody knows.
Hold on. He said, if you agree, then why did you do differently? Junior, that wasn't the right question to ask because you're having this conversation with him now after the fact. So when Joe says, I agree with everything you're saying, what that literally means is, you're right, I was wrong. That's what it means. So when you say, why did you do differently? Bro, he can't take back the freaking past. He can't go back in the past and change anything. He did what he did. That's why he did differently. He can't change it.
Got it. When I say to you,
that's
when
cool.
I say to you that
I
I'm
know you
trying
got
to give them some information.
Hey Joe, I ain't gonna discredit you because I know you speaking truth when you say that, but it ain't all of them. So the ones that you ain't got relationship with and that you talking to like that, and the ones who get the rebuttaling back to you, y'all create other situations that don't need to transpire between grown-ups and kids.
I agree with that, which is why I think I'm one of the older niggas that's on the right side of the generation gap building. Like, I'm not hating on none of these young niggas.
But you have.
Okay.
I think that Yachty...
Real quick. Junior said you have. I believe he's telling the truth because the animosity he had toward Yachty, for example, and how he was talking to Yachty, and Yachty was saying something about business, and I can't remember verbatim exactly what happened, but basically, I believe a little bit of Joe's disrespect toward these artists. This is my personal opinion. A little bit of, I feel like why he disrespects them is because he doesn't like how successful they are, given the current era of music that we're in. Back in Joe's day, if you would try to rap like they would rap now, you would get laughed at. Literally, you would literally get laughed at. People wouldn't even take you seriously back then. So I do believe that Joe is envious of these rappers that pretty much have nothing to say in their music, but yet they earn millions upon millions of dollars by saying nothing.
You and that Migos situation is the only one we could really point to in this.
It don't matter. You have.
Oh, I have, and I rectified it.
How you rectify hating?
By apologizing.
Okay. See? Junior, you're saying, how do you rectify hate? What it sounds like you're doing is you're trying to start a fight. You're trying to start a fight with Joe. Every time he says, okay, my bad, you say, well, you shouldn't have did it. You shouldn't have did it, though. It was wrong what you did. Like, bro, he just freaking said he freaking sorry. He just said, my bad. You keep going back to the past talking about, well, you shouldn't have did it then. That's wrong, Junior. You wrong for that.
By saying you were wrong.
Yeah.
That's what he just did.
So you were wrong.
And then you got this damn female laughing and giggling. This is why you can't have females in the middle of two men having a conversation. Females are a huge distraction when two grown men are trying to have a conversation. This is why women shouldn't be in. You know what? Let's just press play.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with Yachty and Quavo.
Nah, I'm just having that conversation with you now. Now you gotta have it with me.
I had that talk with them. Yeah. A man can say when he's wrong.
Of course. We all gotta stand on what we stand on. If we say something, we gotta stand for it.
100%. And I don't think that's happened again since then.
I had to laugh real quick. The female is laughing because of how sarcastic Joe is being. Joe knows that he's winning this spat. He knows that he's winning this conversation. This is why he's answering Junior the way he's answering. This is why he's given such short, sweet answers, because in the back of Joe's mind, he's like, this is a joke. This is a joke. Like, that's exactly what Joe Budden's voice, the tone of his voice is like, this is a joke, guys. This is a joke, guys. That's why the female's laughing, because she knows that Joe is just he's being funny, but at the same time, he's answering his questions. It's not like he's being disrespectful, but this is why she's laughing, you know?
2020's done. A new era has begun, so keep pushing forward, because this is 2021. Make a different future. Start different at GoDaddy.com.
I ain't gonna speak on something that I ain't certain about.
I'm loving this open dialogue, though.
I have another question for you, Joe.
This called real dialogue.
Joe, are you still cool with Slaughterhouse?
It's my brothers.
Okay, that was all. Thought you'd go more deeper into it.
That's the second time she thought he was going to go deeper into it. Hey, chick, there's two men having a grown man conversation, and you keep trying to direct the topic somewhere else. Once again, this is why you cannot have a female opening up her damn mouth when grown men are having a conversation.
I have a question. So what do you feel?
And here she go again. I got a question. Okay, I'm done. I got a question. Okay, I'm done. Okay, that's the last one. I got a question. Like, girl, if you don't...
Joe, that you have any, given the platform you have, do you feel like you have any influence on the things that you say and how people look at, you know, I don't know how to word it right now.
The way that he construes his messages.
I have a response. Yeah, I have a responsibility on that platform to just do what I feel is right and say what I feel is right. So yeah, there is some influence that comes with it, but nah, it's my responsibility to make sure fuck shit is not just said for the sake of saying it. That's where I disagreed with what Jay was saying. A lot of these niggas do things for views, and it's like blatantly
nigga,
obvious.
this what you did. You did it.
No, I was really angered in that moment.
It's cool. But why are you angry at kids? How can you be angry at somebody who made a mistake that you made too?
No, I wasn't angry at
I'm
kids.
saying you just said you was angry at kids. That's what you just said.
No, I said I was angry in the moment, but I wasn't angry at kids.
So you angry.
Junior, he didn't say that he was angry at kids. You said that he was angry at kids. Please don't try to put words in people's mouths when you're trying to have dialogue with them. That's number one. Number two, these are not kids. These are grown men that are in their 20s. Every last one of them that he has interviewed, that Joe has interviewed.
I'm not angry at kids.
You angry. That's my perspective. You angry. So you being angry, what? It allows you to be irrational?
When you don't want to be somewhere, you kind of remove yourself. That's what I did.
You could have removed yourself from everything instead of saying anything at all. You chose to say something. You chose to go out your way and say something when you could just remove yourself from kid business because they ain't got nothing to do with your era or your time. So why speak on something that has nothing to do with you? That was the question. Why speak on something that has nothing to do with you or your era? Because that's what's.
I'm gonna answer that for him, Junior. Because that's his job.
Happening at the time, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that respectfully. You speaking on something that can make you relevant at the time.
No.
Yeah, this the only thing. Why else speak on somebody else's business? I don't speak on nobody's business if it ain't got nothing to do with mine.
Same
But
thing
you
with
chose
Nicki Minaj.
you chose to go out your way and speak on somebody else's business.
Jazz, I talk about
Nah,
hip-hop.
this Junior.
Junior, I talk about.
Junior, he called you Jazz probably for like the 4th time, and you finally said, this Junior. You should have said that in the beginning. If you wanted him to refer to you as Junior from the beginning, you should have said that from the beginning. But once again, with this conversation, you're looking to have a problem with Joe. Because that's the reason why you got on the phone with him to begin with. To have a problem with him. To confront him. To be at odds with him. And unfortunately for you, Junior, the majority of this phone call did not go in your favor. It didn't go in your favor because of the angle that you came at Joe on. Okay? Once again, Joe is a master conversationalist. And I'm gonna say this real quick too. There's only one person that I currently know about that could go toe to toe with Joe. And that's Tax Stone. I seen it with my own eyes. Tax Stone is on the same intellectual level as Joe. If you want somebody to go toe to toe with Joe and you want somebody to speak to him one-on-one, get somebody like Tax Stone. Tax Stone is an intellectual.
Hip-hop and music and culture for no other reason than I love it.
I mean, I understand it. We all love it. We all come up under it.
It's none of these reasons that you're saying.
I've been in this game as long as you've been in it because I was a child when I got in it, when you was in it. Except I've been in it longer than you because we still relevant now.
It was an interesting first date.
Like, I was really nervous.
We go in through the drive-thru and we just ate from.
Okay, Junior. You said 2 things at one time. You said you said you've been in the game just as long as Joe because you was in it since you was a kid. Then you said, except you've been in it longer than Joe because of something. You said something, but the point I'm trying to make is first you said you was in it just as long as him. Then you said you was in it longer than him. Junior, Joe was older than you. And as far as being in the game, he has been making music before you probably even knew anything about music. Okay? Your father has been in the game longer than Joe, but not you. Okay, you're just the son of somebody prominent. That's what you are. You're the son of someone who could really talk that talk. But let's continue.
So it ain't no disrespect to you. It ain't no taking nothing away from you. It's just goddamn. We don't have to implement ourselves in bullshit when bullshit doesn't transpire to us.
That's a fact.
If it ain't a part of us, we ain't got to implement ourselves in it. When we put ourselves in bullshit and we ain't a part of the bullshit, it's like we looking for attention.
I get it. That was 4 years ago.
Nigga, it don't matter. Okay, that's cool. I understand. I was just speaking on.
Okay, that part. That's when everybody knew that Joe won. That was the finishing blow right there. When Joe said, yeah, it was about 3-4 years ago. Once again, guys, this is what happens when you try, okay, to bully a master conversationalist verbally. You will lose. You will lose. Joe has been doing this for too long. He's been talking to people for too long. He has been, he has been a conversationalist for too long. And Junior, you're clearly not on that level. No, once again, no disrespect to you. I'm not here to disrespect anybody. I'm just being honest. Joe dealt the final blow, the deadly blow, when he said, "Yeah, that was 3-4 years ago." I get it. And then, as you guys heard, Junior was like, "Man, all right. See, because he's done. He's done. He can't go no more. Junior can't go no more. But anyway, guys.
What I was speaking on. I understand. You're right. It's all good, my brother.
So
I don't want no prizes and I don't want no smoke with this situation. Ain't nobody say nothing about us. So it's all that matter. But
so I just have a question.
That can't that part right there. Junior, you said ain't nobody said nothing about us, so it don't really matter. That's a lie. That's a big fat lie. Because the reason why you had this conversation with Joe is because of the people that are connected to you. Okay? You had this conversation with Joe because the people that are connected to you, you felt like were disrespected by Joe. So, when you say it wasn't directed toward us, so it don't really matter. No, it did matter. It mattered enough to where you wanted to make this thing public, where you wanted the world to know about this. That's how much it mattered.
That we do business with or we have business dealings with, it's like speaking on us too. So for future references. Yeah.
He said, for future references. Yeah. Like, come on, bro. All right. So this is pretty much done. In my personal opinion, to sum it all up, I think Jay Prince should have had this type of conversation with Joe. If anybody had the right to have this conversation with Joe, it should have been Jay Prince. Okay, Jay Prince Sr. But his son decided that he wanted to get that off his chest, so, it happened the way it did. And there you have it, guys. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe, guys. Once again, YouTube is playing with my numbers. This is a great way to silence people, and YouTube knows it. When you play with people's numbers, you know what I'm saying? You'll have 200 subscribers one day, and then the next day you have 150 subscribers out. I come from a place that's real scary. Big guns, like military, real shit, no fairy tale. I possess a shit ton of knowledge, I'm like the holy grail. I was born with high perseverance so that I never fail. They tried to label me crazy and so I hid the pain. Tell 'em, Big Pharma selling alternate cocaine. Tell 'em,